Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar today, the Definitive Amazon Seller's Guide, Secrets to Success, presented by Retail Gazette and Channel Advisor. I'm Ben Silate, freelance journalist and former editor of Retail Gazette, and I'll be moderating today's discussion, which aims to unlock proven selling techniques to help retailers and brands elevate their e-commerce game using the Amazon platform. Appreciate it's a very, very busy time for retail right now, so thank you very much for taking some time out of your busy schedules to listen to today's broadcast. Right now as we talk, we're in the midst of peak season. Black Friday is tomorrow, although with all the coverage, it feels like it's been going on for much longer than that, and in a way it has. For businesses unsure about their tactics as this competitive time of year, this Amazon webinar guide may come a little too late, but in terms of building successful strategies well into the new year, it should be invaluable. Some really interesting bits and pieces of information that we're going to share today. Without further ado, I'll introduce our key speaker for today's webinar. It's Mo Ibrahim from Channel Advisor. Mo, do you want to provide us with a bit of information about you, your professional background, and what you plan to talk about today?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Ben. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm Mo. I've been at Channel Advisor over 5 years now. I was originally actually a Channel Advisor self-service client, and I've worked in retail for over 20 years now, moving from shop floor to e-commerce in 2010. Thank you everyone for taking time out to listen to this, and without further ado, I'll start.
Okay, yeah, just quickly before you crack on, we're expecting it to be about half an hour session today, and if anyone has any questions as we go along, feel free to distribute them through the system, and I will endeavour to ask them on your behalf at the relevant points or at the Q&A at the end. But yeah, over to you, Mo.
Okay, thank you. So, hey guys, so in today's agenda, you'll learn how to improve product listings, how to find the right keyword combinations, how to increase chances of buy box wins, why Amazon advertising, now this one's big, should be on your radar, and then hopefully if we have time, we'll have a Q&A afterwards. So before we start, let me just give you an overview of who Channel Advisor are. Channel Advisor has been around for around 17 years, and we help brands and retailers grow their e-commerce business by connecting them with consumers through hundreds of digital channels globally. These channels include digital marketing, like search engines. We provide integrations into marketplaces, and we also help brands support their retail channels through where to buy solution. We work closely with up to 3,000 customers, and in the last 12 months, we've managed almost $9 billion of transactions for our platform. And we have a global team of over 700 employees. And when we talk global, we really do mean global. We have offices dotted around the globe to help our retailers make sure that they have all the knowledge needed in the countries they transact in. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about Amazon and why is Amazon so influential. They have more than 310 million active user accounts, and 33% of all online sales in the UK go through Amazon. Just in the US, over 50% of online traffic goes through Amazon. That's amazing. Amazon just seems to be getting more dominant, and the brands and retailers who used to be anti-Amazon are flocking to Amazon to follow their consumers. It's become one of the most critical components of successful online selling. And the key thing to selling on Amazon is making sure you have the right strategy. So simply listing isn't enough. Now, consumers buy in different ways, and Amazon has molded their consumer to search in different ways. And effectively, selling on Amazon means you have to adhere to that and make sure your products show up when consumers are searching for it. So whether they're using the search bar, they're using categories, they're using filters, or clicking on your adverts. Now, what is the secret to selling on Amazon? The goal is to win Amazon's trust. You've got to remember that Amazon has molded their customers a certain way. So the customers already trust Amazon. Now, Amazon's algorithm is built around that. So the goal is to win Amazon's trust, and that's by plugging into the algorithm and making sure your products show up where they need to show up. Now, a lot of people always go to me, well, Amazon's a race to the bottom. You have to be the cheapest. And there's lots of evidence out there that that's not true. Now, Amazon will look at different factors of a listing. So they will look at the seller metrics, the delivery options, feedback. Now, based off of that, if all of that is good, your products will show up top. There's many instances I've seen where product in the buy box is actually 10% more expensive than the cheapest offering on that product. So how do you improve product listings? Well, first of all, you need to make sure your content is great on Amazon. Now, Amazon provides a lot of options where you can do enhanced content. You can effectively mimic the look and feel of your website on an Amazon product page. Now, if you only have 2 lines of text as a description and your product is feature rich, then you're not doing your product any justice on Amazon. So going back into how people shop on Amazon. So some shoppers, they'll browse, they'll have a look around, they don't really know what they're looking for, and based on their search results, they'll start clicking and searching. Many will filter. Now, there's lots of options when you are uploading your product. Now, you can look at these upload spreadsheets or mappings and effectively think, oh, do I really need to actually populate that? Well, if it's in the left-hand navigation and you don't populate it, your products will be lost in search when people filter. A majority will multitask, so this is why you have to focus on both. Will they search? Will they filter? Cater for all is my answer to that one. So I'm just going to go into what makes a good product page. Well, first of all, you've got to focus on the title. Now, when focusing on the title, you don't really need to put the brand in the title because you already have a field for the brand option. But make sure you put what is the actual product? What is the key feature? So put your thinking cap on. If you were going to search for your product, what would you type in? And there's one thing I definitely ask you as retailers, brand owners, don't use internal technical jargon, because at the end of the day, you've worked with your products for many, many years, and you talk about your product in a certain way within your own office. However, a consumer doesn't think of your product like that. So put your thinking cap on, put your shopping hat on, and what will a consumer be searching for, typing in? Make sure that's in the title. Bullet points. Now, we all know that product descriptions are further down the page. So yes, you have to focus on product descriptions, but the impatient shopper will want to know at a glance, what is the product? So focus on bullet points. Make sure the bullet points actually give all the key information. So in essence, they don't need to go down to the description page. However, a description is required, and you need to make sure your description is as feature-rich as possible. If you can have imagery, make sure you do it. If you've got lots of features on your product, make sure the features and benefits are portrayed on the actual description page. Back-end keywords. Now, there's only a certain amount of space on the titles and the descriptions. You want to make sure that any keywords that a consumer may use to find your product is put into the back end. And images. Don't forget, your consumer on Amazon cannot touch and feel the product. So make sure that images are in a way so that you can actually get as much information over to the consumer. This also helps with lowering your returns rate as well. So back-end keywords are actually really, really big on Amazon. So effectively, you need to focus on them and make sure that you actually take time out to actually populate these. So no one knows the secret to Amazon's algorithm. However, there's a few things we've learned over the years. Make sure keywords personalized preferences, past search behaviors, previous purchases. Bottom line, optimizing your products for the Amazon A9 search engine is crucial to success. By focusing on 3 key areas, you can significantly increase your chances of showing up in search results. There's a couple of other things that you've got to focus on. Just remember 2 things. Amazon is a consumer-led business, so they want to make sure their consumers are happy, and Amazon wants to make money. So make sure that you focus on these 2 things, and then your products will show up. So do your research with keywords. Make sure that you populate them and it has all the relevant information on. Stick to Amazon's 60-character limit for titles. Don't focus on repeating keywords and descriptions because they've already been factored in. Only use terms that describe your specific product. And use hidden keywords where appropriate. Now, I've worked with retailers for many years, and I've seen where these keywords in the back end make a difference. And just by populating them, I've seen retailers increase their sales. So tips for optimizing back end keywords: please include synonyms, spelling variations, abbreviations, alternate names, spaces to separate words, singular or plural, no need for both. Amazon's algorithm already factors this in. Now, things not to use. Now, why shouldn't you use these? This is just wasting space. You have a certain amount of characters you can use, so don't waste them. So don't use the brand names or other brands' names. This is a big no-no. If you want to use other brands' names, use that in advertising as your conquest keywords. Asins, misspellings, punctuations, the same word more than once, stop words such as a, and, by, temporary statements such as new or on sale now, subjective claims such as best, cheapest, or amazing.
As Mo, a few questions coming through.
Yep.
We just wanted to ask you off the back of that last section. Keyword combinations and keywords is what the right keyword combinations of 2 years ago, yes, and last year aren't necessarily the right ones today. How do retailers and brands keep up with that sort of fast changing environment and making sure that they're putting in the right terminology?
So one of the easiest ways is actually searching for your product, because Amazon already has an autocomplete for a lot of search terms. So sometimes you just put the first couple of letters in, and Amazon has already picked up on what you want. Now, harvest those. Those are ideal, because at the end of the day, again, consumers are impatient, so they're already going to, oh, that's right. So I'm just going to press enter, and that's what they're searching for. So start with those first, and then work with your social media accounts. Just harvest as many keywords. Identify even if people are using slang with your products, then start inputting those. So lots of different ways to harvest it, but the easiest and the most successful way that I've seen is actually searching for your products on Amazon, seeing what shows up, and then utilizing those words.
Okay, and the message there: don't rest on your laurels. I'll leave you to it.
No, there's one thing that I've worked with retailers, and the first thing, the biggest mistake they make is just listing products on Amazon and copying their website philosophy and strategy onto Amazon. You've got to have an Amazon strategy. If you want to do well, you've got to actually dedicate time to it. It's not just okay, I've listed my products on Amazon, I'll get my sales through. You have to focus on it. You actually have to utilize a tool. So Channel Advisor is great to make things easier to build that strategy for Amazon, but you do have to build a strategy and dedicate time to it.
Okay.
So no problem. So going into Amazon, the key thing is winning the buy box. Now, Amazon takes a lot of factors in, and based on statistics, 90% of Amazon conversions happen with the buy box. Now, I've already mentioned that it isn't a race to the bottom, it's a race to the best. So you want to make sure that you are focusing on winning the buy box. And how can you do that? Well, going back to what I said about focus on the consumer. So build your seller metrics, make sure your feedback's good, make sure the product feedback is good. If you've got any products which have 3 stars or less, identify why. Is it a genuine negative feedback? Speak to Amazon, see if it can be removed. You've got to make sure that your metrics are good, because if your metrics aren't good, it tells Amazon's algorithm that you're not going to give the customer the service that Amazon requires. So make sure you focus on that. Going back to eliminating negative feedback. If you can, get it eliminated. Spend time on it. So anything below 3 stars is not going to help you convert. Maintain competitive prices. Now, Channel Advisor platform has an algorithmic repricer. Make sure you use a repricer or something to maintain competitive pricing. The reason why is you can lower your price and win the buy box, but then you also want to start increasing it to make sure that you maximize on the margin while owning the buy box. So make sure a repricer is used that takes all these things into consideration. Maintain inventory. Make sure you have stock. Make sure you know exactly when you're going to run out of stock. Make sure you've put orders in place so that you will not run out of stock. Most companies work with 8 weeks cover. Again, make sure you have an inventory forecaster that tells you this. Deliver well and deliver quickly. So now this is key. You want to make sure, now Amazon offers the Prime option where they house your product, and consumers who sign up for Prime can get next day delivery or 2-day delivery. Now, also Amazon offer you as a retailer to adopt Seller Fulfill Prime, where you house the stock, but Amazon do the last mile delivery. Now, Amazon will invite you to this. Now, to be invited to this, you need to make sure your existing offerings work well. So if your courier is not delivering on time, you're getting bad feedback with that, speak to them, change your courier. Again, focus on the Amazon customer and everything else will work out fine. And finally, reduce your A to Z claims. And again, consider leveraging Amazon fulfillment. Okay, so Amazon advertising, this has been really big. So a couple of years ago, it was a case that you'd focus on everything I've just spoken about. You'd focus on FBA, titles, descriptions, keywords. But then Amazon realized, hold on, everyone's now doing that. So how can we make sure, how can we deliver more? So they brought about Amazon advertising. Now, Amazon advertising has become really, really big. I had a lot of retailers who were like, we're not going to do advertising, we're not going to do advertising. And all of a sudden, other retailers did start doing advertising, and those that weren't doing it, their sales dropped. So effectively, if you're selling on Amazon, you're a brand, you've got the buy box, you want to advertise. Now, there's 3 types of Amazon advertising. So you've got sponsored products, headline search ads, and Amazon coupons. Now, sponsored products are a pay-per-click option. And this basically utilizes your organic search results to effectively put your products in front of consumers when Amazon's algorithms thinks that you are searching for that type of product. You also have a headline search ads. Now, headline search ads is more about raising awareness. Now, if you think about it, you've got 55% of product searches start on Amazon. You have the opportunity to build a brand. Amazon's effectively made it a level playing field again. Marketplaces made it a level playing field. A lot of small businesses have grown into large organizations because of marketplaces. So effectively, when it comes to advertising, Amazon's advertising has reset the playing field again. So whether you are a big, massive brand or a challenger brand, you have the same advertising space, you have the same tools to work with. So making sure that you learn about Amazon advertising, focus on it, it will give you the competitive edge. And also Amazon coupons. So Amazon coupons are a great way to actually do buy one, get one offers, offer discounts, and effectively adding rocket fuel to Amazon's algorithm again. So for example, if you do a buy one, get one offer and consumers pick up on it, Amazon's algorithm will pick up on this, and then effectively when another consumer is looking at your product, it will say also bought together, or when searched on, they search for this. So make sure you're using coupons to train your customer. So quick wins, quick tips for Amazon advertising. Well, first and foremost, start with a winning account structure. If your titles aren't good, your descriptions aren't good, your images aren't good, then when customers, when you advertise your products, people aren't going to convert. And then you'll end up just throwing a lot of money away. Know when to factor in the buy box. So if you're a third-party seller, you need to own the buy box to actually advertise. If you are a brand or first-party seller, then effectively you can advertise to sell your brand no matter who's selling it. Review this regularly. Again, this is not, okay, I've switched it on. You don't want to just focus on Amazon's automated keywords. You want to harvest your keywords. You want to remove negative keywords. You want to focus on this. You want to start somewhere, get the results, and then refine it. You want to keep on optimizing it. The goal is to focus on increasing sales and decreasing your advertising cost of sales. Tap into Amazon's vast knowledge of consumer search and shopping behavior. So Amazon gives you the tools. Channel Advisor plugs into Amazon's advertising. So utilize these tools, utilize any tools available for you to actually help drive more traffic to your listings. Start small and build. Effectively, get data. Now, obviously it's Black Friday tomorrow, but you can still be doing a lot for next year. So start small, get data, find out what people are searching for, put those keywords in. And get specific, don't generalize. Again, Amazon's automated keywords are just a starting point. You need to then develop and build from there. But their automated keywords are a great starting point. So building loyalty.
Hello, Mo, quickly on the Amazon advertising, I apologise for butting in, but it's a really interesting area of development. I've been following the rise of Amazon advertising for a good few quarters now, and it's a real growth part of their business, isn't it? Just to underline what you said, what do you think are the benefits of using the Amazon advertising platform over Google Ads, the sort of general banner digital display placements that also are available to retailers and brands?
Yeah, sure. So I subscribe to a platform called eMarketer, and I get a lot of information. Now, there's lots of information of agencies moving a lot of budget from Google to Amazon. And it's especially so for retailers, because retailers are selling products. Amazon has customers who are there to buy products. Amazon has a lot of information and data points on that consumer because they've already got an account, they've got past purchase histories and so on and so forth. So effectively, advertising on Amazon is actually more beneficial and more, what's the word? Oh, my mind's just gone blank there. But effectively, because you're targeting your ads at consumers that are actually there to shop, it's more efficient. That was the word I was looking for. It's a more efficient way of advertising to consumers who want to shop.
You're targeting where they're spending so much of their time, aren't you?
Exactly. And Amazon's got so much information about your shopping habits and similar shopping habits of other consumers. Something that Google doesn't really have when you're searching within the Google search bar.
Okay, interesting stuff. I'll leave you to the rest of your presentation.
All right, thank you. So building loyalty. Now, this is a key thing. Amazon gives you the opportunity to build something called an Amazon branded store. Now, what does that mean? Well, effectively, going back to the different data points that I see all the time, 55% of searches start on Amazon. 50% of consumers prefer purchasing repeat purchases on Amazon or moving to marketplaces for repeat purchases. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're giving the consumer the information they need. So again, retailers I speak to over the years, the first thing they say is like, how do I own an Amazon customer, or how do I own a marketplace customer? Well, the reality is you don't. The marketplace owns the customer. So all you can do as a retailer is own the content and make sure the content is done in a way that it helps an Amazon customer convert with your product and not someone else's. So make sure you have great imagery, make sure you have great content, make sure you have the features and the benefits. Make sure you brand it out so your descriptions aren't 2 lines of text and they have images and features. All right, so best practice. How do I win on Amazon? Well, first things first, use advertising to encourage repeat purchases. Own your content. I can't stress this enough. You don't own the customer, but you own the content. So make sure you focus on it. Make sure you put time and effort into it. Make sure catalog listings are correct. So if you are a brand owner, you wholesale to businesses, don't wait for them to put the content on there, because they have no interest in making sure their content is as good as your content. You're the brand owner, so make sure you focus on that. If consumers are looking for your product on Amazon, have some element of a relationship with Amazon, whether it's first party, third party, so that you can control what consumers are seeing of your products. Use all of the data you have to make listings as rich as possible. Keywords in titles, keywords in the back end. If none of this is done, your advertising is pointless because you'll just be throwing money away. So I'm just going to summarize now. We want you to focus on product listings. We want you to focus on keywords. You want to win the buy box. Now, to do that, you need to make sure that you are offering an Amazon customer what an Amazon customer has been trained to expect. And you can't get away from it, guys. Amazon advertising is here to stay. Make sure you have a winning approach to this. Make sure you focus on this. I've seen lots of consumers, lots of retailers grow their sales exponentially by using Amazon advertising, and I've seen a lot of retailers actually lose a lot of sales by not adopting it. Now, if you're wondering why sales aren't performing, and if I ask you a question, what have you done differently from last year? And if your answer is nothing, well, there you go. You need to make sure that you're adopting all these new philosophies that Amazon are creating. Make sure you're on top of it. If you're doing something last year, figure out if it's still okay to do it now. In most instances, it's probably not. So just keep refining your approach to Amazon. Ben, over to you if there's any questions.
Mo, thanks very much. Really good insights there. Put it together really clearly, and lots for retailers and brands that are tuned into this webinar to think about. We've had a few questions come in, and I've been able to ask some as we've gone along. But brilliantly, we're perfectly on time for maybe 1 or 2 final questions just before we close this down. I think one of the things that crops up time and time again, you can't ignore the growth of Amazon Prime as a service that Amazon offers. Are there any special tactics that retailers and brands can use to make sure they're optimizing the opportunities of Amazon Prime? I know it's very much in favor of Amazon's own products, but what can retailers and brands do to make sure that they're benefiting as well?
Yeah, sure. So, okay. You've got to look at it this way. A lot of people filter by Amazon Prime. A lot of people are signed up to Amazon Prime. So effectively, if you don't offer your product on Amazon Prime, you'll be a secondary search. So identify your top sellers. Now, if you can identify your top sellers, put them into Amazon's FBA program, and I can't tell you exactly how much you're going to increase your sales by, but everyone who's put their best sellers into Amazon FBA have increased the velocity of sales and sold a lot more of those. also have the right strategy as well. Remember, an Amazon Prime customer is an impatient customer, so they don't actually mind paying a little bit more. So obviously FBA costs more. I've seen strategies where they actually increase the price to accommodate the additional cost of FBA, but still actually increase the velocity of sales of their products, hence increasing their sales. There's also an option if you offer good delivery options to your consumers, and you can actually you'll be invited for Amazon Seller Fulfilled Prime. Now, to a consumer, the consumer doesn't know any difference because you still get a Prime badge. But effectively, you'll be holding onto the stock, you'll be sending it directly to the Amazon customer, but you still get the visibility of Prime.
Okay, so, yeah. Some interesting tips and advice there, Mo. Thanks very much for that. And I think we've probably got time for one final question. I talk to a lot of retailers and brands and who are sort of debating their digital strategies and whether to work with Amazon or whether they see Amazon as a competitor. And I'm sure lots of people tuned into this webinar have similar feelings. So it's kind of a good one to finish off on, really. I mean, for retailers nervous about using Amazon to sell their goods, sort of worried it might cannibalize their business, which is a phrase we hear quite a lot, but only too aware that being on Amazon guarantees high visibility, wide reach, and instant sales in some cases. It's a real balance to weigh up. What would be your sort of final bits of advice for people thinking that way?
The way it's like my personal opinion is, if your product isn't a considered purchase, you should be putting it on Amazon. Effectively, because if you're not, someone else will. And effectively, it is a race. So you want to make sure, because Amazon's already getting more consumers. Every single day, more people are flocking to Amazon. So effectively, if your consumers are shopping on a platform where your product isn't available, you're missing a trick. Now, again, you do have to make sure that you have both strategies. You have to have a winning website strategy. You have to make sure that you're remarketing to your own consumers, because those consumers are more profitable to you. However, for capturing sales on Amazon's platform, you effectively need to be there. Like I said at the beginning, 33% of all online sales happen on Amazon. That's something that can't be ignored.
I think that's a nice line to end on, Mo. Sound of Amazon can't be ignored. I think that that says a lot about the retail industry over the last couple of decades. But thank you very much for that presentation. Really interesting stuff. Lots of value in that for sure. I think anyone that's tuned into this webinar, thank you very much for taking the time to listen in. Or if you're listening on a recording later, then hope it's of value. All that's left to say really is, if you have any further questions, speak to the experts. The details are on the screen there now. Channel Advisor will be happy to answer those. And anyone that did ask questions during the course of today's webinar that we didn't get around to asking, someone from Channel Advisor will get back to you in the next 24 hours. But thank you very much, Mo, again. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you for another webinar soon.